I think it comes back to psychology. I did a lot of stuff with Tony Robbins, and I also did NLP. And I think I can't remember which person I learned this from, but one of the things that they talked about is a lot of people, when they get a problem in life or business, they generally see one solution or two solutions. And I can't remember, even if you've got two solutions, it's not, that isn't really a solution, it's just a dilemma. And what they encourage you to do is to find lots more options, because with lots more options you feel free to be able to do something. I know in business a lot of times you can get stuck in, all right, well, what do I do now? How do I get out of this? And most of the time it's because you're not opening yourself up to many ideas. And I can't help thinking, after what you've said, is that is something that people think about fitness. I think one thing people think fitness is probably something you have to do in a gym, and it revolves running machines or some kind of machine like that, when in reality it's not. And I think that probably prevents people from doing all of the other things, like you say, walking or body weight stuff that could probably get them in good condition, that maybe they just don't realize is even, possible.
Yeah, I think they don't understand the definition of fitness, what it means to be fit, right? So my book is optimal, 22 ways to optimal health and fitness. Health is first, right? That's prior to fitness. Fitness is this, other thing that you could do where you're able to move your body in ways that are going to be a little more aggressive, so to speak, or maybe a little bit more higher intensity. That is fitness, being able to play with your kids or your grandkids, or, have an active life instead of going to a vacation where you're sitting at the pool and drinking pina coladas. You're going on a vacation and climbing a mountain, or you're riding a bike, several miles, going on a biking tour with a group and seeing, the environment in which you're dwelling in and visiting. I mean, this is what fitness is. And I think some people are short-sighted, as you said. You don't have to. And that's, again, one of the first chapters in the book is just move daily. It doesn't matter what it is. Go for a walk. I've seen a lot of people, and I'm sure you have too, get in really good shape, have great health by just walking. That's all they do. I mean, if you look at people around the world, Americans are probably, and I know this is spread out, and it's more different in the past decade, but Americans were really the first to be fitness-centric, and then now I feel like it's a lot more diverse. And it's more spread out worldwide. But I do think that more people walk and just are active in their daily lives than those that exercise in gyms. Would you agree with that? Is that a true statement? So let me rephrase that. So more people just walk, daily and move that way than go to gyms or have gym memberships. There's probably more people that do that basic stuff than going to a gym. And I think that's something that you say, where, going back to your point is, you don't need all that stuff. It's great to have. It's nice to have. It makes it convenient, variety, right? But you don't need it. It could just be going for a walk, maybe starting around the block, then going around your maybe neighborhood school track, and then maybe going on a vacation and going for walks in the neighborhoods or places that you're going to visit to see something different that you wouldn't normally see, but sitting by a pool and drinking a pina colada.
I think that's another point that I'd like to talk about, because step counting and 10,000 steps has been around. Everybody knows this is a boring story. However, I can't help thinking, and I know this is true certainly for myself, that we're not even really doing that. Some days particularly now, you're on Zooms, meetings, we're sitting down, we're in a coffee shop, we're going to our car, we're parking outside the supermarket. We're not moving very much. Right. Even people that are super fit are not moving. Maybe if you live in somewhere like New York or London where you have to catch trains and stuff, those are the exceptions. But I don't think most of us are moving enough. And also I think that I was chatting to a gentleman, a friend the other day that has Parkinson's, and he was telling me that one of the best things for people with Parkinson's is fitness, exercise, and that for them the best way to control a lot of the symptoms is to actually have small bouts of fitness throughout the day. So probably 3 times of small things. So you could walk, you could maybe lift something for a few minutes, and I think when you part of, I guess the issue is how we look at it. It's almost like comparing it to food. You've got one meal a day where you have to eat everything in that one meal, and then that's it. Whereas maybe and I don't, you're the expert, and it's a question to you really, but do you think that probably going for a decent walk in the morning and a decent walk in the evening before bed after you've had something, and then maybe having something very simple like a sandbag, that maybe in the morning you just do some basic movement, you do some squats, you do a few deadlifts, and you kind of, maybe you just do 3 sets of 10 3 times a day, which takes you no time, with a nice long walk. Do you think that if somebody wasn't really doing a lot, or used to go to the gym and don't do it, if they incorporated something as simple as that into their life consistently, 4 or 5 times a week, do you think that would, along with getting their diet in control, do you believe that would sort of, really change their health and wellness?
Yeah, I don't think, Matt, I know, for sure. I absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt that works. Right. And I think that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there are statistics and there's research showing that short bouts of exercise is more beneficial than one long bout of exercise. So people might think, I got to go to the gym for an hour. Well, it would be better if you did 4 15-minute workouts a day, or movements. That's not called a workout, because people are like, I got to change into my workout clothes every day. Like 15 minutes of movement in a day is better than doing 1 hour, because in that 1 hour, you're not consistent. You're going to be kind of taking breaks in between. But yeah, there's some research that shows that short term, like those benefits that you just talked about, the short term movement, morning, evening, afternoon, before you move throughout the day, before, after lunch or after dinner, that will be beneficial to your health, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, and just as I've got one of these Aura rings, and sleep's in your book as well as a chapter, being important, but it's almost like you think you sleep better than what you do. Yeah. And I certainly know that I feel I probably work out more than I do, although I do track it pretty well. But I think most people think, oh yeah, I go to the gym and I'm in there for an hour. Yeah, but how long within that hour you're actually working out? And then what are you doing for the rest of the day? Because there are certain days of the week where I don't go to the gym, and if it's not a weekend when I'm out with the children, I look at my sort of movement and I freak out. I'm like, what? I've done nothing, and it sort of got me thinking. I've got a small gym at home and stuff, and because of my back, I tighten up. So when I went to see Paul, there's a few ball exercises that I do with a ball and a kettlebell. Just loosens me up, and then once I start loosening up, I then start feeling as though I want to do a little bit more, and it just kind of wakes you up and gives you like this shot of energy. And I suppose it made me think: do we reinvent what fitness should be in people's lives? And is it because of what we think of having to go to a place and do it? Is that limiting getting more people involved in some other form of sort of movement and exercise?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I think the shift, if there is a shift in that direction, is going to take a while. But I still think there's going to be the purists who want that 1 hour gym time, and I love that as well. I'm a member to a gym, and I love putting in that hour, the hard work. But I like to also do those little short, frequent things throughout the day. And we learned over the past 3 years during the pandemic that fitness can be done anywhere. I mean, literally. And we've been doing that. I mean, as you know, my business, I moved down here. I had a gym. I still have my gym in LA, but I was doing it only there. Now I'm doing virtually. I have clients in Maine, New York, Florida, where I'm training them virtually and giving them something, whether it's a half an hour, an hour, on a daily basis, where they're feeling great and they're able to get the gains and benefits. I've never met them face to face. I have a virtual class that I have that I teach people. I have about 7 people in the class that show up or don't. I record it and send it to them, and they do it and track it over time. It's amazing. We can do things today. We have so much more at our fingertips than we ever had before. I don't think we should be so provincial and narrow-minded to be able to think that we've got to go to the gym. We got to add extra time into our day to do these things, because time, as you know, is our biggest asset. We don't have a lot of it anymore. We got to spend more time with family, which we saw in the pandemic as well. People got really appreciative of spending more time with family. We have now hybrid work days where people are going to the office for 2 or 3 days, and then they're able to stay home and do work from home. And it's because these large companies like Apple and Google, and they see the value that people have. Their health, but also their happiness. right? People are happier. They're better when you're with your tribe, with your family, with your friends, and you're able to spend more time rather than sitting in a car. Even if you're in a car listening to a podcast or, like we're offering here, it's still time away from you could be with family and loved ones and people that you care about and care about you and get that, personal touch. So absolutely, I think it's super important for people to understand that exercise and having good health and fitness and wellness is not about going to a gym. It's also, having those lifestyle choices, and I can't keyword there, lifestyle, and use the two, doing those things on a daily basis, being consistent, whether it's 15 minutes is better than nothing. I think that's one thing I want to mention too, where I'm sure you've seen this. People, if they don't have the hour or the half hour, they just would rather not do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Myself included sometimes.
It's like, right, but you can get a great, 15 minutes, you feel energized. I was just talking to the gal when I walked in here. She was asking about my book and this and that, and I was telling her kind of briefly what it was about, and, I said about energy, this and that, building energy. She said, well, that's exactly what I need. And she's like, I eat all this bad food around the holidays, and I put on some extra weight and this and that, and I have no energy. And I'm like, exactly. It's all fitness, health, well-being, this book, everything that we're talking about is about having better energy and more quality energy. Because when you have more energy, you have more life. Life is energy. If you break down the definition of life, it's energy. And you don't have energy, you have no life, literally. So have better energy. If you can do those little short things throughout your day, you're going to increase your energy, because even if you're sitting down, even if you're standing up on a Zoom call or sitting on a ball, that's just a little bit. You got to get moving a little bit more. Just get out of your comfort zone, as we talked about earlier. Do things that are going to make you kind of shake it up.